If your mission is the eradication of some horrible disease, wouldn't it be wonderful if you actually worked yourself out of a job? I do believe that we have made significant progress in this country, don't get me wrong, significant progress. But it would be amazing to work for an organization that was for a cause where they won. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Tori.
Hi, how are you? What's happening on your end?
I'm here at Civic Center in San Francisco, where the weather is as we all expect it to be. But yeah, here it's pretty cold. I hear it's a nice day there.
It is, it's very nice.
Where are you? What are you doing?
I am having an amazing moment right now because I'm standing on Black Lives Matter Plaza and I'm looking at all these Black Lives Matter signs. I'm in front of the Mirabelle restaurant and there are these beautiful murals.
Yeah, I know it.
Namaste, no justice, no peace. I know you do.
So what's that like, though? I mean, that must be really intense to see.
It's very intense to see. There's something about standing in this plaza, standing on the words emblazoned in yellow, that gives me some grounding. Kind of reminds me that I stand on the shoulders of giants. Reminds me of, in this moment, it's going to be really important for all of us to be invested in our democracy.
Let me ask you then, when you talk about your work and you talk about we all need to be invested right now, which I think is a great way to put it, like this is our democracy, we do need to be standing up right now more than ever. How are you approaching that through your organization and even you personally as a leader in your organization?
We knew this year that we were going to need to pull out all the stops and be as aggressive as possible in reaching as many voters as possible.
Right.
And so we had this whole plan about what we were going to do on the ground and how we were going to turn people out, how we were going to mobilize people, and how we were going to get souls to the polls. And then COVID happened. And we were on lockdown. How do we do this? How do we go from really knocking on people's doors and having that one-on-one experience to all of a sudden going online and using technology? What does that look like? We know that at Naacp that we are not a direct service provider or direct service organization, but we made a decision early that we would respond to whatever the moment called for. The moment called for a trusted voice that could deliver information. So we started doing what we call these teletown halls. We did a whole series of teletown halls, bringing some of the national experts who could speak at the time to what was going on, what we should be doing, how can we be tested. And so one of the things that we did working with Salesforce was we were able to create a tool that we're able to leverage and take our entire program online, plus phone banking, plus canvassing light. We had volunteers, over 200,000 up to this point, that volunteered to help us.
Wow.
We will not be going directly to people's doors and knocking on doors, but we can go to the grocery stores. Safety first, but get out the vote we will.
Not to diminish the much bigger things that you were talking about, but I am curious about how is your organization going to continue to evolve? What do you think about transformation?
Civic engagement is not a passive sport, and that's one of the visions that we're casting forward. That President Johnson is very, very committed to bringing forth an engagement in the process of building democracy in our country, because the things that are the laws that are passed in this country, in the state, in your county, in your city, in your town, govern your life.
Yep.
We've seen it play out in COVID, right? We've seen it play out with where you have leadership that actually believes in science, that actually believes in climate change, that actually believes in public health. You see the difference in how they are addressing COVID in their state, in their city, in their county. The Naacp is a nonpartisan organization. We are not Democrat, we are not Republican, independent. We also are not blind.
Our country, as you're describing it, is really hyper accelerating into a lot of our unresolved problems. And you yourselves are encountering all of this change all of a sudden. And, you know, being at Salesforce, we like to talk about transformation. You want to modernize, you want to use new systems, but then you realize, oh, this is changing fundamentally a lot of what our organization is.
Yes. So leadership is truly important. Systems are important. Systems outside of the technology. You and I both know that, you can go to name your gym, and then they have all of the accoutrements, they have all of the classes, right? And you're all set up, and then you don't go.
You gotta go.
Right, and at the end of the 6 months, you're looking at yourself like, where's my six pack? Well, it's not enough for you to actually just have the membership and have access to all of this goodness. You actually have to be able to apply it. So when it comes to technology, we could have all of the bells and whistles, all the technology that we need. If we don't have the systems in place and people are not trained, and we don't have, the other thing is a culture shift that says that it's not optional to use the technology, that the technology is the foundation upon which we're going to build and move and leverage. It's just pretty stuff that you look at.
I'm also intrigued about data. Data is the product of all of that activism. We have to figure out, how do we use that data to continue to tell the story?
Again, the trick is on the front end, which is where the pain is, right? Because it takes so much time on the front end to be able to think about, and I'm closing my eyes even as I'm talking to you right now, beginning with the end in mind. You need to be able to visualize what the organization looks like a year from now when everything is in place. And if you can kind of articulate in your mind that vision, you can start to walk yourself back to then what does it take on the front end in order for us to land where it is that we're talking about landing. And all of that takes time and space. That's a huge challenge. And for those of us who actually engage in that challenge and figure out that secret sauce, watch out.
Yep.
Those are the mega organizations. And I don't mean mega in terms of money, I mean mega in terms of power.
Power, yeah.
Power to change things.